33 hours and 10 minutes from now, Game 5 of the 2019 NBA Finals. This city, it's officially lit.
I like that, Jared.
The Six, one win away from making history. Or will we see a different type of history? Where the Warriors come back from 3-1 down. Marc Gasol, will hear from him. All part of NBA Finals media availability presented by YouTube TV. The scene has shifted back to Scotiabank Arena here in Toronto, Ontario. Welcome, 3D, Steve Smith, Jared Greenberg. The Raptors lead the series 3-1. We will hear from the Warriors. We will hear from the Raptors. We have reporters downstairs. We'll hear from Kristen Ledlow in a bit inside the bowl. Let's start here with the vibe of this city here, who now, maybe some, it's not a surprise that the Raptors are going to win a title, but the fact that they could possibly hear Smitty do it in 5.
I'm glad you said that, Jared. I think before it was about they were just happy to be here. Now I think when you see after Game 2, this crowd was a little dull, and going back to Oakland thinking they would definitely come back maybe 2-2 or maybe down 3-1. For them to be up 3-1, I mean, the energy, 3D, in this city has been phenomenal. And I think, you know, those guys, what I love is after every win, 3D, they don't show any emotion. They are really focused. They're ready for the task. And where they're defending, it's just been unbelievable.
I have to agree with you, Smitty. That quiet confidence, Jared, has been very, very impressive, because you would expect a team that's been dying to get to this moment would be over-excited about what they're doing. They're not. Nick Nurse, or should I go all the way up to the top with Masai Ujiri? You know him as well as I do. Each game, he showed a little bit of motion for a second and then back to focus that we're not done what we come here to do.
Masai Ujiri continues to question people for congratulating him. Why are you congratulating us? We have not accomplished what we came here to do.
And to your point, Jared, I said, Masai, you can smile a little bit. He goes, no, not yet. I need 4 before I start smiling.
I thought you were about to go in your Dikembe voice there.
Man, does not fly.
No.
But I'm with Masai, though. You know, you think about who they're playing. This is the Golden State Warriors, and obviously the topic, Jared, you would definitely keep us up to who's going to play, who's not, and some of the people that will play can really change this series.
And that's the thing. Injuries can change in a dime, and things, as the Warriors saw a couple of years ago, a suspension happens, and that pops up, and that changes the whole mentality, the whole tone of the series here. But from the Warriors' standpoint, and again, we'll update you on Kevin Durant's status as soon as we get the latest from the Warriors today, who are expected to give us an update on Kevin Durant, who has not played since Game 5 of the second round of the playoffs. But 3D, what do you think the Warriors' mentality is here? They've come back from 3-1 down in the Western Conference Finals to win a couple of years ago. They've also been on the wrong side of leading 3-1 and losing an NBA Finals.
Well, to that point, Jared, I think being a part of history, they understand how to navigate through the situation of 3-1. With that being said, though, with all the injuries, who else can step up on that bench? Steve Kerr has shown us now they've had, 10 or 11 different starting lineups, Smitty. Somehow, some way, how do you tap into that bench to figure out the Nick Nurse defense? Because so far, it's done a heck of a job of taking the Warriors out of their offense.
Yeah, and I think for the Warriors, 3D, you won't have to worry about their effort, but a bunker mentality for the Golden State Warriors. And I think if you're Toronto Raptors and basketball fans, you know, everybody's saying 3-1, the percentages, but how does this turn for a young team like Toronto that hasn't been in the finals if the Golden State Warriors could come in, Jared, and win this one? And you got to go back to Oracle. It's not like they're winning the game in Oracle and we're coming back to Toronto. If they can win here and go back to Oracle, not saying there's no guarantee, but it will definitely change this series.
And listen, there's nothing that's going to phase the Warriors here. They've been through it all. But in this very series, they've won in this building. Remember, Game 2, 3D, they won here.
But they barely won that ball game down the stretch. So that's why a lot of the questions where Iguodala misses that shot, maybe things change. So Raptor fans feel one more rebound, this could have been a sweep, Smitty. So once again, that quiet confidence on how they're playing defense, how they're staying together. We go back to Game 4 where they couldn't make a shot in the first half, Smitty. In the second half, stuck to what they do best, and they started making shots.
Yeah, and I also think and Jared, 3D, we've all been around. The thing is, I see in the Golden State Warriors, they miss, they make shots. They can't get a stop when they want to.
Good
they
call.
usually could get a stop when they want to, and it gets a couple stops and multiple stops, and then they're going a run. They can't get stops even when they're shooting well or shooting bad, and I think that's what's disturbing them.
Remember, go back to that 73-win season. What made the Warriors so uniquely talented and dominant was not their offense, which was historically good.
Right.
It was the balance of the offense with the defense.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, all the numbers and all the fans and all the kids see the scoring and the 30-footers and the 40 points. But we Jared used to pop out numbers, and used to be surprised. I mean, you say number 1 in rebounding, number 1 in this, number 1 in block shots. And you look at this team, and they're not getting stops, they're not getting block shots, they're not getting charges, and they're not getting loose balls. And a lot of that is because they're shorthanded, but a lot of it is because of Toronto Raptors.
All right, well, the big story is the status of Kevin Durant. Will he or won't he be able to participate in the NBA Finals, no matter how long it goes? Let's get the latest as we go inside the seating area with Kristen Ledlow.
Jared, as he's continued to be sidelined with this calf injury, I spoke with a member of the Warriors staff after Game 4 who told me that the plan is still in place to add to his workload gradually on these non-game days, and that he'd be tested in 2-on-2 and then 3-on-3 situations this weekend. It's Sunday, so it may have already happened. Now, the medical staff is going to make a decision based on what they see and how he's feeling at that point. The team has remained hopeful that KD would return in the series. He did travel to be with the team here in Toronto. But as you know, Jared, within the hour, Coach Steve Kerr will address the media, and if it's in keeping with the announcements that he's made the day before each one of these games throughout the finals, we'll know more about Kevin Durant's health status then.
All right, great stuff from Kristen Ledlow on the court. We'll hear more from Kristen as she sits down with a couple of players from each team. I want to read to you guys this report that has just come out from The Athletic. There is growing confusion and angst among some players regarding Durant's return from injury. How do you interpret that?
That Steve Kerr has told us since the injury that we need to get Durant back on the court. And Smitty, how can you get back on the court in the final where there's no practice time? 2-on-2, 3-on-3, yeah, that sounds good, but we all know that's no way simulating what the finals intensity is. That's not Kawhi Leonard you're going 2-on-2 against. So I can understand some of the angst because they want to win, and of course having him on the floor makes things a little bit better for him, Smitty.
Well, one of the things that I read into that, and I'm curious your take on it, is the angst and confusion. Is that just from the part of, if you're going to be out, just say you're not playing so we don't have to answer the questions each day of whether or not to expect you to play?
Yeah, and I think also, Jared, you know, one big thing that really has everybody confused, they're down 3-1. If they were up 3-1, we wouldn't even be talking about Kevin Durant coming back. They'll be saying just rest him and maybe rest him the whole series. Down 3-1, and maybe some of these players getting a chance to watch him work out these last week, because we know he's been working out. There's been talk about it. We don't know how he looks, but the talk about him working out, and I think when you start to get desperation, people are saying, why not when you give it a go?
Well, just think about the whole theme of the season, guys. It's an unfortunate product of the time we live in now. The whole season we've spent looking ahead to the summer, whether it be with the Raptors and Kawhi Leonard, the Warriors and Kevin Durant. Will he return? Will he go elsewhere? Where may he go? And then now we're in the biggest moment of the season, and we're not even talking about him on the court. We're talking about, will he get on the court, Smitty?
Yeah, it is, and I think that's the one thing you said it best. His play usually take care of himself, and the way he's been playing, it was about whether he's staying or not. Right now is his injury, and the one thing we do have to remember, 3D, and you know this, he is injured. This is not some guy coming out here faking an injury. He would want to be in the finals. He lives for this moment, so you got to give him some leeway that he is extremely hurt. And watching it, 3D, yes, they said calf, but it was a little bit more than calf, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you, and I think, you know, Steve has been coy throughout this whole process, and we understand that we as players, that injury may be one thing. One day you feel good, next thing you know, that calf trickles down to the Achilles area. I just think you're being cautious for the bigger picture.
Let me read some more of Sam Amick's report in The Athletic, which has come out this morning. He wrote that irritation grew in the Warriors locker room following Game 4's loss to the Raptors. DeMarcus Cousins, Kevon Looney, Andre Iguodala have been playing through injuries during these finals, and players, according to Sam Amick, simply didn't understand why Durant wasn't there. 3D, is it to the point where if Durant isn't going to play, the players would just rather hear that from him?
No, I've been saying it for a while, like you, Jared. I would have rather Durant come out and say, you know what, this injury is more serious than we thought. MRI may said one thing, I'm done. And continue to work. And then if you get healthy enough to come back, then it's a huge surprise and you come back and help your team. Very similar to Kevon Looney. He was pretty much said he was done. Then got a second and third opinion. He said he can manage the pain and end up playing in Game 4. Obviously, the calf's a little different, but to our points in this conversation, I think most of us would have rather Durant say, hey, guys, this thing is real serious, and we thought, I'm done, and then come back and surprise the world.
Another topic that we knew would come out of this series for summer fodder was who's the best player in the world. Now that some believe that that is no longer LeBron James's title, and many thought the way Kevin Durant started his playoff run that he was now stealing that and was going to be number one in the pecking order for whatever that's worth. But now with the way Kawhi Leonard has played, and all that's at stake here for Kawhi and the Raptors, is it now Kawhi Leonard who's going to come out of these finals, assuming the Raptors wrap this up, that he is the best player in the world rather than the guy we thought it would be this summer, Smitty?
You know, the one thing we can't say is we all impressed of what Kawhi Leonard has done as far as his game, as far as he's leading his team and the way he's taking his game, and also his leadership to another level. It's still quiet leadership, but he's done a phenomenal job. It's unfair to say whether he's better than Kevin Durant because we haven't seen Kevin Durant face a Kawhi Leonard. Right. And obviously throughout the regular season they had some unbelievable matchups, especially that game that KD had 51 and they still won the game in Toronto. But it also shows that before he left with injury, we were talking about Kawhi maybe being one of the best players in this league, but the injuries pretty much had him out of the conversation. The same thing right now. We don't have the conversation of seeing Kevin Durant go up against a Kawhi Leonard.
Smitty, I'm going to come back to you with this one because you're around Tim Duncan winning the championship. Doesn't what Kawhi is doing in this final remind you of Timmy? Not too high, not too low, just going out and playing the ball game, playing the right way. If you don't double team me, I'm going to go get a bucket. If you double team me, I'm going to share the basketball. Defensively, Timmy Duncan will get all the block shots and all the rebounds. What's Kawhi Leonard doing? He's playing D, he's rebounding, he's sharing. So being in San Antonio, to me, really has helped him how to be a champion and how to do things the right way on the stage. So you and I were doing that post-game show the other night. I was like, this reminds me of a Tim Duncan type performance on this stage and not being rah-rah.
Well, we got the medium fundamental, not the big fundamental.
There you go.
The medium fundamental.
The medium fundamental. I like that.
Wow. Is Shaq going to give you the authority to give out that nickname?
The medium, he didn't say that one first. The medium fundamental.
Well, he'll claim that he did.
Okay,
of
well,
course.
he can have it.
Like leaving it the other night, he claimed that one too.
He did.
We've got much more here live from Scotiabank Arena. It is NBA Finals.
The medium fundamental.
By YouTube TV. We'll hear from Kawhi and Nick Nurse and everybody else live on NBA TV.